Okay, so welcome to the deep dive. We're diving right in. Today, we're tackling a story, an IPL story, and it's about a team that, oh, how do I put this? They haven't exactly been setting the league on fire. It's one thing to have a bad season here or there, but the Punjab Kings, well, they've managed to achieve something really special, missing the playoffs for over a decade. Like, seriously, over a decade.
Yeah, whole decade, it's pretty impressive. In a bad way, I mean.
Yeah, impressive might not be the right word. Disappointing, maybe.
Yeah, that's more like it.
Think about it. They're one of the original IPL teams, a founding franchise, been around since 2008, 17 seasons. And they've only made it to the playoffs twice, in 2008 and then again in 2014. And since then, nothing.
Nada. Zip, zero, zilch.
Right, exactly. 10 seasons in a row, stuck in the group stage. It's like they're allergic to the playoffs or something. So naturally, we had to ask, what's the deal? Why can't a team that clearly has the resources, the money to buy big players, why can't they crack the code and get into those knockout rounds? That's what we're going to try to figure out today.
Yeah, and I think this deep dive should be interesting. It's a real head scratcher for anyone who follows the IPL.
Definitely. And we've got some great sources to work with for this one. We've got all sorts of detailed stats, like number crunching stuff, really looking at their performance over the years. Plus, we've got some very, very interesting discussions from Reddit, from actual fans who've been through this whole roller coaster ride with Punjab.
Yeah.
They're not holding back either. They're giving us some really funny, sometimes brutally honest insights into what they think has been going wrong. And then, of course, we've got some expert opinions from various commentators and analysts. So, yeah, we're going to try to piece together this puzzle.
Exactly. Like a forensic investigation into the Punjab Kings.
Right. So that's our mission today, to understand why Punjab Kings, with all their potential, with all the big names they've had on their roster, why they just can't seem to get over this playoff hump. Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. Rewind all the way back to 2008, the very first IPL season. There was a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement around the league. And for Punjab, there was a sense of hope.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Back then, they were led by Yuvraj Singh. And you know what that means.
Local hero, fan favorite.
Exactly. So things started pretty well for them. And their bowling, particularly, seemed to gel together. But the real shocker was Sean Marsh. Like, no one saw that coming.
Right, out of nowhere.
He had this amazing season, racking up runs like crazy, and ended up winning the Orange Cap. He just blew everyone away, really carried them, and they, believe it or not, they reached the semifinals that year.
Wow, so they were almost there right from the start.
Almost.
So it seemed like they were building something, laying a foundation. Okay, so fast forward now to 2014. This is the season everyone remembers, right? Like the peak, the high point. It's even described as a lonely mountain peak in this vast flat landscape of mediocrity. They topped the league stage, and their batting was just phenomenal. Maxwell, Miller, they were smashing sixes left, right, and center. They really looked like they were the team to beat.
And what's interesting about that season is how dominant they were.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for a good chunk of it, they were just unstoppable. George Bailey's captaincy was spot on, and Sanjay Bangar, who was the coach then, he also seemed to have a real impact on how they play. They were a powerful team.
A force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, exactly. And with Maxwell's, unconventional stroke play, his improvisation, and Miller, who just provided this brute force in the middle order, it felt like they were on a roll, like destined to win their first IPL trophy. But we all know what happened, right?
The final. Heartbreak.
The final. They met Kolkata Knight Riders. And it was a close game, down to the wire. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife.
Yeah, every ball mattered.
And then, the ultimate twist of fate. Piyush Chawla, who used to play for Punjab, he ended up hitting the winning runs for KKR. Can you imagine?
Oh, man, that must have been a tough one to swallow for the Punjab fans.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal.
And what's crazy is that this amazing season, this peak, it doesn't look like a stepping stone, It looks more like an anomaly, a blip on the radar.
Yeah, right. Because what happened next? Well, they crashed and burned. The very next season, 2015, bottom of the table. And then 2016, same story. And from there, the great playoff drought began. It's incredible when you think about it. Since that final in 2014, they haven't qualified for the playoffs, not even once.
10 years.
10 straight seasons. From 2015 all the way to 2024. Just stuck in the group stage. It's like they're in playoff purgatory. It's an IPL record that no one wants. And their league finishes, they're always around the same spot. 6th, 7th, 8th, even 9th. Never really terrible, but never good enough.
And that's what's so frustrating, isn't it? It's like they're always almost there. One Reddit user actually put it perfectly. They said, they're never outright terrible, just consistently not quite good enough.
Yeah.
Often finishing agonizingly close.
Just a win or two short. That's how another fan put it.
Yeah, it's like they're masters of almost making it. But almost doesn't get you a trophy, does it?
Not even close.
Okay, so we've seen the highs and lows, the peak, the valley. Now let's dig into something that's become a bit of Punjab Kings' trademark.
Their spending habits at the IPL auctions? Let's be honest, they're known for splashing the cash.
Oh, yeah. They've got a reputation for being the big spenders at the auctions. And it's interesting, right? Because they often enter the auctions with the biggest purse, the most money to play with. And that's because they release a lot of players every season, basically hitting the reset button year after year.
Exactly. New season, new squad.
Right, so they have the money to go after the big names, and boy, have they made some big signings. We're talking about Glenn Maxwell. They brought him back multiple times for huge sums. And of course, the return of the prodigal son, Yuvraj Singh. Emotional, but was it strategically sound? Then there are the international superstars, guys like Rabada, Bairstow, Livingstone. All top players, all commanding huge fees.
Oh, and how can we forget Sam Curran, the most expensive player in IPL history? That was in 2023.
Right. I mean, they went all out for him. And in the 2025 auction, they again shelled out a huge amount for Shreyas Iyer. They've assembled this galaxy of stars over the years. But here's the thing. It hasn't always translated into results on the field. It's like buying all the best ingredients but not knowing how to make a good dish.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. You need a recipe, a plan.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the money spent. It's also about how they approach the auction.
Exactly. They've made some, shall we say, interesting decisions. There's a story about Tom Moody, the former coach. He was apparently baffled after the 2025 auction. He couldn't believe they spent so much of their budget on just 2 players.
Iyer and Arshdeep Singh.
Right. And they used their right to match on Arshdeep, which meant they had to pay a premium. So it raised questions about their strategy, like were they being impulsive? Were they just focused on grabbing headlines? And then there's this whole Shashank Singh incident from the 2024 auction.
Oh, man, that was classic.
Right. I mean, it's like something out of a comedy sketch. The reports, the videos, everything pointed to a major mix-up. It looked like they were bidding on one player, but ended up bidding on a completely different Shashank Singh. It was a huge mess.
A total blunder. Okay. They even tried to retract the bid, saying it was a mistake.
Right. But the IPL officials said, nope, sorry, once the hammer falls, that's it. And the funniest part, this accidental buy, this Shashank Singh, he actually ended up winning a few matches for them. Talk about a twist.
It was like a Bollywood movie plot.
Yeah, seriously. And they even put out this hilarious tweet afterwards, trying to play it cool, like, oh yeah, we totally meant to buy him, but no one bought it.
Yeah, right. Sure, you did. Classic PBKS.
Exactly. It just shows you this chaotic energy that surrounds their auction strategy.
Yeah, in this habit of rebuilding every season, it shows up in their retention policy too. Before the 2025 mega auction, they only retained 2 players.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them were uncapped. I mean, come on. They're basically saying, let's start from scratch again.
Another fresh start. Ricky Ponting even called it that.
Fresh start, yeah. That's their motto every other season.
Yeah.
But seriously, every year they release experienced players, they rebuild, and the cycle continues.
So what's the result? Squad imbalances. They consistently end up with holes in their lineup. It's like they're always missing a piece or two.
Yeah, it's a recurring theme. Lack of batting depth, especially when it comes to Indian batsmen. Not enough quality spin options, and then an over-reliance on a few star players, mostly their overseas batsmen, to score the bulk of the runs. They keep repeating the same mistakes. It's baffling.
And we even have a quote from Krati Zinta. Remember, this is back in 2018. She declared they had a perfect squad.
Oh, man, if only.
Talk about irony. Their performance since then has been anything but perfect. It's like they're allergic to balance. And, it's funny because it really highlights the difference between them and, say, the Chennai Super Kings or the Mumbai Indians.
Right. Those are the teams that consistently find success. And they do it by building a stable core of players, keeping that core together, and then strategically using the auctions to address specific needs to fill those gaps in their team.
Yeah, CSK especially, they're known for backing their players, giving them a chance to prove themselves. And MI, they've become masters at identifying and nurturing young talent.
Exactly. But Punjab, they're reactive. They're constantly chasing the next big thing, the shiny new toy. Yeah. They don't seem to have a long-term vision. It's like they're always playing catch-up, always one step behind.
Always rebuilding. Okay, so we've looked at their history, their auction habits. Now let's talk about something that, at least on paper, should be their strength. Individual brilliance. I mean, they've had some seriously talented players on their roster.
Oh, yeah. Some of the biggest names in the IPL have played for Punjab.
Right. Take KL Rahul, for example. From 2018 to 2021, he was a run-scoring machine. I mean, he was consistently at the top of the charts.
Yeah, he was racking up runs for fun. He even won the Orange Cap in 2020. I mean, the guy was on fire.
But here's the thing. Despite Rahul's incredible form, despite him being the captain, Punjab still finished in the middle of the table every single season. 7th, 6th, 6th, and 6th again. It's almost like he was playing his own game, putting on a one-man show.
Yeah, one of the sources called it a solo symphony. It's like he was playing beautiful music, but the rest of the orchestra was out of tune.
Yeah, no harmony, no team effort.
It really makes you wonder, right? Was it just him? Was the team just not good enough around him? It's a mystery.
A frustrating one. And then there's the Chris Gayle effect. Remember 2020? He joined mid-season, and suddenly it was like someone flipped a switch. They went on this incredible winning streak, winning 5 matches in a row.
Yeah, it was insane. He came in and just started blasting sixes, brought this energy, this swagger to the team. Even Sachin Tendulkar commented on the vibe he brought. And it seemed to have a positive effect on KL Rahul, too. Right. He started playing more freely.
But even with Gale's power hitting, even with that winning streak, they still missed the playoffs.
Yeah, they just couldn't sustain it. It's like individual brilliance can only take you so far. You need the whole team firing on all cylinders to really succeed.
And then there's this whole PBKS curse narrative that's been floating around. You know, the idea that talented players, once they join Punjab, they just can't seem to replicate their previous form.
It's like they enter a performance black hole.
Right. And the prime example is Glenn Maxwell. He's a match winner, we know that. He's proven it time and again for other teams and for Australia. But with Punjab, he's been so inconsistent.
It's almost like he's two different players. The one who plays for Punjab and the one who plays for everyone else.
Yeah, it's strange. And you see flashes of brilliance, moments of magic, but they never last.
Like that record-breaking chase against KKR. That was insane. But then in other matches, they'd collapse like a house of cards.
And it's not just Maxwell. There are other examples. Shashank Singh, Ashutosh Sharma, these young guys showed real promise in the 2024 season, but it didn't translate into consistent results for the team as a whole.
Yeah, it's the Punjab conundrum.
Yeah.
Individual brilliance, collective failure.
Exactly. And, you know, the fans have picked up on this. They've turned it into a meme. There's this famous Rishabh Pant comment. He actually joked before the 2025 auction that he was hoping to avoid being bought by Punjab.
Yeah, he was like, please, anyone but Punjab. And then what happened?
He got bought by Delhi, and then guess what?
He had a rough season against Punjab.
Right. And the trolls online had a field day. It was like, see, the curse strikes again. And then there's the whole Maxwell saga. There are memes about Punjab nurturing him, but him only shining for other teams. It's all very funny, but there's a hint of sadness there too, I think, like a recognition of their struggles.
Yeah, they've become the meme team of the IPL, which is, you know, kind of funny, but also a bit sad. Like they're always the butt of the joke.
Exactly. And it all comes back to this over-reliance on individual brilliance. You know, it creates this fragile structure. If those key players don't perform, the whole team crumbles. And that's something you don't see with teams like Chennai Super Kings. They've built a system, a culture where everyone contributes. It's a team effort, a collective responsibility.
Yeah, they don't put all their eggs in one basket. Everyone chips in.
Okay, so let's move on to another area that's been a major talking point when it comes to Punjab Kings, leadership. And this one is wild. The number of captains they've had, it's staggering. Seriously, it's ridiculous. Shreyas Iyer is their captain for the 2025 season. Guess what number captain he is?
Oh, man. I don't even want to guess.
17.
17 captains in 18 seasons.
Yep. And they've had some big names, some international stars, but none of them have lasted very long. I mean, Mahela Jayawardene, a legend of the game, he captained them for a single game.
What? One game?
One game. That's it. And the way they announced Iyer as captain, it was on this reality TV show, Big Boss.
Seriously? I mean, come on.
Yeah. And A.B. de Villiers even commented on it. He was like, only in the IPL.
It's like they're trying to make a spectacle out of everything.
Exactly. And it's not just the captains, it's the coaches, too. They've had a revolving door of coaches. Remember Michael Bevan? He was appointed at the very last minute. Yep. And then there was Sanjay Bangar, Anil Kumble. And now...
Ricky Ponting.
reunited with Iyer from their Delhi Capitals days. And Ponning's come in all guns blazing, talking about building the greatest Punjab Kings team.
Right.
But it's hard to build anything when you're constantly changing the architect. Yeah, it's like trying to build a house while constantly changing the blueprints.
Exactly.
So what's the impact of this constant chopping and changing?
Well, it's chaos. It's impossible to build any sort of strategic continuity. You can't develop a strong team culture. Players don't know their roles. The tactics keep changing. It's a recipe for disaster.
Like in 2018, remember, there were reports of a rift between the team mentor and the head coach.
Yeah, that whole season just imploded. It's like the leadership instability just seeped into the team's performance.
A total meltdown. And it just shows the importance of having that stability at the top. You look at CSK with Dhoni and Fleming, or MI with Rohit Sharma. They've had that consistency in leadership, and it's a big reason for their success. They have a clear vision, they build around it, and they stick to it.
Yeah, stability breeds success.
Exactly. And with Punjab, it feels like these changes in leadership are a symptom of something bigger, something deeper. Like, is it just a lack of vision from the ownership? Are they just not sure what they're doing?
It's a good question. And when you look at some of the off-field controversies they've had, the ownership disputes, the legal battles, it all adds to this image of instability. It's like the problems start at the top and trickle down.
Yeah, like a dysfunctional family. Okay, so moving on. Let's talk about this interesting phrase, their art form. Punjab are masters of this art form.
Sadly, yes.
They've perfected the art of narrowly missing the playoffs, like they've turned it into a science. And for their fans, it must be torture.
Yeah, it's like they're experts at breaking their fans' hearts year after year.
They've actually missed the playoffs by just one win in each of their last 7 seasons, 7 years.
That's so close, but so far.
It's like they can smell the playoffs, but they can't quite reach them. And we even have specific examples, right? 2018 was a classic. They started strong, won most of their initial matches, and then lost their last 5 games in a row. It was a train wreck.
They just couldn't stop the bleeding.
And then the 2021 match against Rajasthan Royals. That one still haunts me. They needed just 4 runs off the last over, 8 wickets in hand. It was in the bag.
A walk in the park.
But they choked. They managed to lose. Unbelievable.
Anil Kumble even admitted afterwards that it was a pattern. He was like, this is becoming a habit, and it's a bad one.
A bad habit indeed. And Reddit is full of examples of similar chokes, moments where they've snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. It's become their signature move.
It's like they have a fear of winning.
Yeah, like they just can't handle the pressure.
And the analyses point to some recurring tactical issues. In some seasons, it's their batting that lets them down. They just can't seem to build partnerships to construct an innings.
No consistency.
Right. And in other seasons, it's their finishing. They just can't get those runs at the end, like they panic. And more recently, it's been their death bowling. They just leak runs in those crucial last overs.
And they've even released some of their more experienced death bowlers, which is, well, a bit baffling.
Makes no sense. It's like they're actively sabotaging themselves.
Yeah, self-destruction. And it all comes back to this lack of stability. No consistent leadership, no clear roles, no team culture. When the pressure's on, they just crumble. No plan B, no backup.
Just panic.
So let's get into what the experts and the fans are saying about all this. What are their takes on the Punjab Kings saga?
So the experts, they're pretty much in agreement. They criticize their auction strategies.
Yeah.
You know, the aggressive but chaotic approach, the big spending that doesn't yield results.
Yeah.
They also point to a lack of long-term vision, the squad imbalances, the inconsistency, the lack of depth, and of course the leadership merry-go-round.
Like Tom Moody, he didn't hold back. He just ripped into their 2025 auction strategy.
He called it a joke, a complete and utter joke. But there's a glimmer of hope. Some experts are cautiously optimistic about the Ponting-Iyer combo. Maybe, just maybe, they can turn things around.
Yeah, maybe. And what about the fans? They're the ones who've really suffered through this whole ordeal. What are they saying?
It's a mixed bag of emotions, really. There's frustration, a lot of frustration, years of pent-up frustration. And then there's this dark humor. You know, they make memes, they crack jokes. It's like they're trying to cope with the pain through laughter.
Laughter through the tears.
Exactly. And they're loyal, you know. They're still there, cheering for their team. But there's also a sense of betrayal, a feeling that the management has let them down. They talk about missed opportunities, about how the team has failed to nurture talent. They point to guys like Bishnoi, Axar Patel, Rinku Singh, all these players who left Punjab and found success elsewhere.
Right, it's like Punjab's the talent academy for the rest of the IPL.
Yeah, it's sad. And then there's the choking, the near misses. It's a cycle of hope and disappointment, and it's been going on for a decade. They're tired. They just want their team to win. But deep down, they're still holding on to that hope that maybe, just maybe, next season will be different.
But hope can only sustain you for so long.
Right. At some point, you need results.
And let's not forget the off-field stuff. The ownership issues, the disputes, the legal battles, it's all added to this air of dysfunction around the franchise.
Yeah, it creates this perception that they're just not a well-run organization.
Right. It's like a house with a shaky foundation, and it all circles back to this meme-worthy status they've achieved. The pant joke, the Shawshank Singh saga, the Maxwell memes, it's all part of the Punjab Kings experience.
The gift that keeps on giving. For meme creators, I mean.
Exactly. But let's be serious for a moment. We've talked about what Punjab hasn't done, but how does that compare to the teams that have consistently found success in the IPL, like CSK, MI? What are they doing differently?
Well, the answer is pretty simple. Stability. They're the opposite of Punjab. They've built their success on a foundation of stability, both in terms of their leadership and their squad composition.
Yeah, CSK, they've had Dhoni and Fleming at the helm for years, and MI, Rohit Sharma, has been their captain for ages, and they had a consistent coaching philosophy. That stability allows them to plan long-term, to develop a clear identity, to build a culture.
Exactly. They're not constantly hitting the reset button. They're building, they're evolving, but they're not panicking. And that reflects in their squad building as well. While Punjab is chasing stars, throwing money around like it's going out of style, CSK and MI are more strategic. They build around a core group of players, and then they fill the gaps, they address their needs in a more calculated way. CSK, they back their players, they give them time to settle in, to find their form. And MI, they're masters at spotting and developing young talent.
They're not afraid to give the young guys a chance, and it pays off. But Punjab, they seem to be more interested in making headlines than in building a winning team. It's like they prioritize individual talent over team cohesion. And it's costing them.
Yeah, it's short-sighted. They need to stop focusing on the short-term gains and start thinking about the bigger picture.
And the difference in team culture is stark. You look at CSK, they're calm, they're collected, they're process-driven. MI, they have this never-say-die attitude. But Punjab, they're unpredictable, they're inconsistent, and their identity seems to change with every season.
It's like they're still searching for themselves.
Yeah, still trying to figure out who they are. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into the Punjab Kings mystery, let's recap. What are the key takeaways? What have we learned?
So the reasons for Punjab's struggles are multifaceted. Their auction strategies are often questionable. They lack consistency and leadership, both in terms of captains and coaches. Individual brilliance hasn't translated into team success. They have a tendency to choke under pressure. And they lack the stability that has been the cornerstone of success for other franchises. It's a complex web of issues, and they all seem to be intertwined.
Yeah, it's a recipe for disaster. But there's always a glimmer of hope, right? A new season brings new possibilities. They've got a new coaching setup with Ricky Ponting, a new captain in Shreyas Iyer. Maybe, just maybe, this is the year they turn it around.
Maybe. Iyer has been leading from the front. They've had a couple of good wins. Ponting seems confident. But we've seen this before, haven't we? The early optimism, the flashes of brilliance.
And
then the wheels fall off.
The inevitable collapse. So the question remains, will this be the year Punjab Kings finally break their playoff drought? Or will it be another year of heartbreak? Will the curse continue?
Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, they'll never be boring. They're the ultimate entertainers. The unpredictable, the frustrating, the meme-worthy Punjab Kings. They're a team you love to hate, and maybe, just maybe, you secretly love to love.
And there's always that Punjabi spirit, that resilience, the saying, there's always next decade. So even if they fall short this year, the memes will continue, the jokes will flow, but the hope will remain. And who knows, maybe one day they'll finally figure it all out.
Maybe. But until then, they'll remain the enigma of the IPL. The team with all the potential in the world, but just can't seem to put it all together. It's a story that keeps you on the edge of your seat, even if it's often for all the wrong reasons. And that's the beauty of the Punjab Kings. You just never know what you're going to get.
The mystery continues. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll be back soon with another fascinating story from the world of sports. See you then.
Stay tuned.